Hey everybody, Scott Reek here, Trilogy Live. Let's try this again. Forgot to hit my record button. So, hey guys, Scott Reek here, Trilogy Live. We're here with episode 8. And I feel like slowly I am getting everything prepared more ahead of time. Every time I complete one of these, I make notes and I think of how to make things better as far as just the little settings and things like that. I still haven't quite got to where I want to be with it yet, as far as bringing other people in. And really, the biggest thing from there is that I need to get a new computer for it, and I just haven't done it. I've gone and looked at them. It's not that I can't get it or anything like that. I just haven't. I don't. I grew up technologically into computers. I worked for Circuit City for years. I've done a lot of computers, and for some reason, purchasing this computer specifically for the purpose of podcasting, graphics, video, media overwhelms me. I don't really know why. Talked to a lot of people about it. I understand it. It's just been hard for me to pull the trigger so far. So go figure. So what's up, Mr. Josh Regal? How's the weather over in Illinois treating you? You getting all that same rain that we've been getting here in Kansas City for the last forever? So, all right. Anyways, getting everything set up and yeah, getting ready to go to a Memorial Weekend. I hope everybody's got a bunch of plans for Memorial Weekend. I personally am heading down to tomorrow night to Wichita, Kansas, which is where my mother lives, and I'm gonna go hang out with her. Me and my wife are going down there. But then Friday morning, we're heading down to College Station, Texas. That is where my dad lives. I'm gonna go help him hang out there for a day or so. But then me and my wife are gonna head back up to Dallas, Texas, and hang out there. We're not sure if we're going to do Dallas or Fort Worth. I actually put a post out on Facebook the other day and got like 50 plus responses of people who have opinions and ideas of things to do in Texas, which is funny because I asked things to do in Texas that were not disc golf related. And it's funny how many people mention disc golf courses. But the other funny part is almost all the mentions were food. Like that's the only thing we're going to go down there and do is food, which I won't lie. If you'd see me, you know I like food. Food is a big part of what I'm probably going to do down there. I enjoy going. One of my biggest goals when I travel for any tournament or just any adventure is to find as many food places or eat at as many food places that I do not have back home. And a lot of really interesting places were named when I was there. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to Texas. So what are you guys doing for the week or for this weekend? The first holiday weekend of the summer. The season's been well underway. We got the Portland Open this weekend over Memorial Weekend. Here locally, we have the Des Moines Challenge here in the Midwest. Super popular tournament's been around for many years. I'd love to go. If I wasn't going to Texas, I'd be in Des Moines. So Riley's saying it's getting ready to rain again. But he got a round in before it started. That's good. Yeah, it didn't rain here today until about 4 o'clock, but I think we got about 3 inches of rain yesterday, and it's now raining. I'm looking outside my window, and it's now raining, and it looks like it's going to be pretty consistent. Probably the best part about me going to Texas is they're not expecting any rain the whole time I'm down there, but it's supposed to be like 90 degrees, so it's probably going to be pretty hot. All right. Tournament practice. Jess, are you tournament practicing in the rain? I do not tournament practice in the rain. Matter of fact, I will play in just about any conditions. Cold, really cold, like 0 degree cold, extreme wind, heat. I do not play in the rain. I've got to a point in my 20-some years of playing that if I'm playing a tournament and I see that it's going to rain that weekend, I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm not playing that tournament. The only time I am going to play a tournament in the rain is if I had to really prepare for a tournament, such as going when I go to Smuggler's Notch for Masters Worlds. Obviously, if it rains during that time, I'm going to have to deal with it. I'm not canceling Smuggler's Notch or Masters Worlds or, any of the big events for the rain. But I am not playing in the rain if I don't have to. It is my number one thing I hate the most about disc golf. Doesn't matter what I do, I cannot dry my hands off well enough. I use dirt bags, towels, even have a video on how to play in the rain. I don't like to play in the rain. I know how to do it. It's just, and I'm actually have been pretty successful playing in the rain in the past, but I just don't enjoy it. Phil's saying if you don't play in the rain, then you'll play inconsistent in it. You're probably right. But if I don't ever play in it, I can't be inconsistent in it. So I'm just inconsistent in every other part of my game. But that also probably has to do with I don't practice that either. So I do play around in the wet conditions, and I say it pretty extremely, like I don't play in the rain. I do play in the rain occasionally. I just really, really don't look forward to it or enjoy it. It's more of if it's raining while I'm already out there. If I have to prepare to go into the rain, I'm probably not too anxious and excited about it. But if I'm already there, I've already made plans, I'm going with a group of friends, I've gone out of my way to make plans, um, I'll do it. I just won't be happy about it. Brett's saying higher rated rounds in the rain too. It's possible. Just depends on how everybody shoots. So speaking of higher rated rounds, so this past weekend or Friday, if you guys have watched any of this, I opened a new course here in Kansas City out at Bonner Springs called Cedar Ridge, and I did a one-rounder. I hosted a one-rounder event there that I also got to participate in. And I won't lie, it's my course. I designed the course. It's the first time everybody had gotten to play it. I'd played it a few times, but I was still able to play. And I shot a 48, I think a 48, which won my Pro Masters by 4. I would have run open by 2, but the best part about it, I don't know if you see in my face how excited I am. I shot a 1030 rated round. My best previous to that was a 1024. And that was in 2009 when I won the Memorial Championship in the advanced division. So that was my hottest round up to the 1030. I'm excited about the 1030. I don't know if I should consider it my highest rated round just because it was a one rounder in a very casual environment versus playing in a structured competitive environment like I did in Memorial in 2009. Still pretty excited about that win as well. But it's still a 1030. And I've been struggling. My rating's been dropping. So I really kind of hope that 1030 is going to do something for me. But it's kind of sad, though. I shot a 1030 rated round, beat everybody. And because it was a one rounder with like a $10 entry fee, I only won $30. So it's kind of funny. It's like, man, I shot the best of my, statistically, the best round of my life. And I walked away with $30. So what can you do? So, all right. But speaking of ratings, we'll talk about one of the things I've been excited about all week. When I saw this happen, I was really excited to talk about it. I love statistics. I love ratings. And so I was able to play around a little bit. And you're going to see me kind of looking up here a little bit. That's where my other screen is at as I kind of look at what I'm talking about. But this past weekend at Santa Cruz, if you guys have not seen this yet, you are not paying attention to the disc golf world. So I hope the majority of you guys have seen this before. But at Santa Cruz, you have Garrett Gurthrie, who won his first national tour event in his 16-year career. Now, I do put a little star in that 16-year. One thing I have not seen anybody talk about is he did take a several-year hiatus in between. It doesn't void out the fact he's been playing for a really long time, and Double G is one of the coolest guys you'll ever meet out there. But I don't know that I would say 16 years. He definitely had a break in there. But he shot about a 10.6. I'm just doing the quick math here, but about a 1064 rated. Actually, I think it was like 1071. I don't like to guess. I gotta do the math here real quick. No, 1062 rated round, winning by 6 strokes, winning $5,000. So it's pretty awesome for Garrett to shoot that. But the person I wanted to talk about the most, and not to take anything away from everybody shot above him or Double G, very excited to see Garrett with that win, but is Mr. Eric Oakley. Again, if you haven't seen this, you guys are not paying that close attention to other podcasts, to the PDGA, even on Facebook. Eric, you're not following Eric. It's been out there, but I'm still going to talk about it because it's pretty exciting. I know Eric very well, and he shot a 1060, a 983 second round, and a 1080. So that 1080 is his highest rated round that he has ever shot. That averaged him still a 1041. He's a 1015 rated player. So even the statistic, he shot what, 3.5 strokes average above his rating, even with the round that he shot. What did he shoot? 3.5 strokes below his rating. If you're taking every 10 points as 1 stroke, which is typically what I do, it can be anywhere from like a 0.8 to 1.5 or something like that. But still, he shot a 1041. If he would have shot in that second round, he shot a 77. That 77 was at the De La Viega course, the same round that he shot the first round. So in the first round, he shot a 62. Conditions were definitely a lot worse that second round. It was raining a lot that second round. I don't know if anybody has watched that video yet, but its conditions did not look good at all. But either way, he shot 15 strokes worse the second round. But say in that second round, if he would have tied Garrett at a 66, which still would not even have been the hot round of the day, he would have won by 1 stroke. So, and that would have been Eric Oakley's first national tour win. But just to see how close that was, and it was that one round, again, those conditions, I'm sure if we talk to him, there's a lot of things going through. I'm sure he's very disappointed by that, but it's still such an awesome round. And to break those statistics apart, yeah, super awesome. 5th place at a national tour, winning him $1,500 with the 1080 rated round. It's got to hype him up, take him into Portland Open on a whole new high. He's struggled a little bit this year. He's been very public about it this year on his Instagram and Facebook page that he's been struggling and seeking out opinions and advice from various other players. And hopefully this is now going to get him in the right direction. Eric is a great ambassador to sport. And I'm not just saying because he's a Trilogy or with DD. I really do like Eric and Tina. Every time I go to a tournament, I like to reach out to them and listen to them and talk to them every time they come through Kansas City, which they do a few times a year. I love to catch them. So it's pretty awesome to see that. So over on our FPO side, where's my FPO? I just had it up, and now I don't. Katrina Allen with her 3rd large event in a row win. She is just on fire right now. Katrina also won by 7 strokes. Love Katrina. She's a very fun girl. I think she gets a bad rap a lot. I think just sometimes she just seems like she has kind of that cold shoulder or is a little grouchy. But if you ever really sit down and talk to her and hang out with her, very cool person. But Paige Bjerkes coming back with a -4, the hot round, the second round. Brought her back to 2nd place, still going back by 7 strokes. But one of the neat things, if you really look at her round, is Paige Bjerkes was pars all the way across the board with 3 or 4 birdies. So 4 birdies, no bogeys, shoots a 4 down. Super awesome. Now, Paige Pierce, who shot 6 birdies, shot a -1. Now, I think Paige is always known she is getting better in her putting, and she's trying to get better at being smarter about those putts. She's talked about needing to get better at those putts, but she's definitely known as an aggressive player. A lot of people know. So Paige Pierce, who shot 3 strokes worse than Bjerkes, had 6 birdies versus 4, but also took a double bogey and 3 additional bogeys on top of that. So just to kind of break that apart, I mean, if you were just, and I'm only looking at this one round at the moment, but if you take that same thing away, just in that one round alone for Pierce, if she would shoot the same thing Bjerkes did, but with her birdies, so 6 birdies, that puts her 6 down for the round. She's only lost by 2 strokes, and that's just the 3rd round. I'm sure if I came over here and I was trying to look here, I'll be honest, I'm not super good at, oh, there it goes. The same thing. You go to Paige on the 2nd round for Pierce. 1, 2, 3 3 more bogeys and a double bogey. So same thing, both second and third round, 3 bogeys and a double bogey. And not to say by any means anybody's expected to go bogey free, but just to even take those averages, I think she could be a lot more competitive up there. She's just really got to see how to control those bogeys. And I'm not one to criticize any pro and how they play, because I'm definitely not anywhere up there. I'm a 937 rated player. Just looking at the numbers, and I'm sure she's looking at the numbers, and everybody around her is looking at the numbers as well. But man, just so close, and I'd love to see both of them a little bit further up there. But Paige Pierce and Katrina, they're always right there in the top 2. Lately, Katrina's been the one who's been dominating, which is awesome to see, just because over the last few years she's kind of fallen back a little bit, and Pierce has definitely been up in the shadow. Bumped my camera. And it's really cool to see Bjerkes, though, back up in a second place. I know she had that Las Vegas win, but since then, I think she's had a lot of things going on. I think that road life is taking a little bit of toll here and there, but it's nice to see her back with a second place win, just to hopefully give her that confidence going into Portland. And the same thing, look at Bjerkes. She shot a +6. So between the second and third round, she shot a 10-stroke difference. So to lose by 7, so that's just in that second round. Again, I know we could take Katrina's and we could probably break hers apart. I'm looking at hers, and she has a double bogey in there as well. But Bjerkes' first round, she has 4 bogeys and 1 birdie. Where, so really on this course, Bjerkes doesn't have she only had 1 birdie in the second round too, and 4 in the third round. So she had 6 birdies in the entire weekend. So, it's still tough. For her to have won that, it's basically saying she needed all those birdies and only 4 bogeys out of 54 holes. Actually, it's more than that, because they play 24 holes. So almost 60 holes. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, just like I said, to look at those stats and look at all those numbers. So, all right, so that's the Santa Cruz Masters Cup. Anybody watch that? Like I said, I watched the coverage. It was pretty awesome to see. I didn't watch any of it live. I watched it all post-produced. Actually, national tour. Was there live coverage for Santa Cruz? I don't remember being a national tour event. There may not have been live coverage. But I definitely saw post-produced coverage. And I saw the men's, the first 2 rounds. I've not got a chance to find the third round or the FPO ones yet. It is on my list of people to check out, but I have not yet. Right. So somebody on the board say something in the chat, because my chat has stopped at 13 minutes ago and nothing's come through. So either nobody's chatted or something's happened that is not refreshing. And I hate to do any kind of refresh. Oh, okay. There you go. You guys are just being quiet. So now I'm getting messages come through. So, all right. Like I said, I'm sometimes new to this. So we talked about those round ratings. One more rating round I want to talk about. If you guys, again, this may not have been as obvious. It's been on Facebook and it's been on Smashbox a little bit. But over in North Carolina this weekend, there is a gentleman named Dan Hastings, PDGA 33504. It's a 1017 rated player out of North Carolina. He played in the 19th annual Tar Heel tournament presented by Bricks Pizza. And this guy had the round of any player's life. It was not the highest rated combination of rounds ever. It was, I'm doing the quick math here. So I think Macbeth has averaged like a 1086 over the course of a weekend, something like that. I don't know if that's the exact. I know Dixon on the box with Dixon Jowers has talked about it before, but he averaged a 1073. So we're going to say approximately 10 to 15 points under the highest rated round and the highest average rated round in the history of disc golf. This Dan Hastings shot first round. It's unofficial. I think it's still unofficial, but an 11-11, a 1090. So after day one, he averaged an 1101 day. That may be a record. I know there's been 1,100 rated rounds, but after a day, I'm not sure if anybody's ever averaged over 1,100. 1,100. I don't even know what I'd ever have to shoot on any course to shoot 1,100. Second day, he definitely narrowed it back a little bit, but still shot a 1042 and a 1049. So one of the cool things, if you really look at these numbers, is so not only did he have a great day, but he won by 23 strokes in the open field out of a 15-person open field. Now, the next closest to him was a 997 rated player. All right. The 997 player second place, Philip Bartholomew, who lost by 23 strokes. He's 997 rated. I just did this earlier. Averaged a 1013. So he averaged Philip averaged approximately 1 stroke per round above his rating, but he still lost by 23 strokes. Third place, so he won. Dan shot a -65. Philip shot a -42. Third place shot a -27. So Philip, who lost by 23 strokes to first place, beat third place by 15 strokes. That is a whooping on any field. And if Dan hadn't been there and Philip would played, Philip would have beat just about anybody else, or not anybody else, but in this field. That would have been a good win on the field. Now, a 10-13 in most fields, especially at a pro tour, national tour, is probably not even cashing. Matter of fact, here, let's do some more quick math here real quick. I'm just curious. I'm taking the last cash at Santa Cruz. Granted, it was only 3 rounds, not 4 rounds. It was 1,008. So, Philip, who would have won without Dan being there, would have probably gotten near the last cash at most any disc golf pro tour or national tour. So, I guess the shooting wise probably wasn't as exciting as just the raw numbers. Like I said, the raw numbers, -65, -42, -27. That is just pretty awesome. And actually, I didn't even look. I just went down a little bit further. So in this event, in our Pro Masters field, who had 5, Brian Schweberger, shot a -44. So he would have still lost by 21 strokes to those. And he shot a 1070 rated round, a 986, a 1012, and 1,008. So 1019. So not much better than Philip, even though oh no, he only beat Philip by 2 strokes, and yeah, he's about a half a stroke per round. So that's on a 4 round, that's 2 strokes. But Brian Schweberger, he beat second place in Pro Masters by 26 strokes, it looks like. Man, there's some whooping going on in North Carolina. I don't know if I got anybody in my crowd here that's from North Carolina, but you guys make me not want to come visit you. If it's not the USCGC, I feel like I'm definitely going to be overshadowed. But I am curious about some of these courses now that I'm kind of looking at them. I mean, your advanced winner shot a -30. There's 2 guys, 956, 960, -30. Second place is -29. Matter of fact, except for the bottom, well, 2 people DNF'd, and then the bottom 3 were even or worse. So everybody shot under there. So anyways, 100-person field, run Chapel Hill, North Carolina, the 19th annual Tar Heel tournament. Congratulations to Dan Hastings on 11-11 rated round, 11-01 rated first day. Super impressive. Congratulations to Garrett Gurthrie, Double G, on your first national tour win after 16 years. Congratulations to Eric Oakley on the highest rated round of your career. Super exciting. I don't know if any of those guys ever watch me on here, but if you do, I'm rooting for you. If you don't know what you're missing, people. So, all right. So that is what I have for tournaments today. So what's going on out there? Anybody have anything for me? So I feel like there's a lot of new people on the board here tonight. So I'm just going to kind of go through. So I actually moved this a little bit later. I know I've kind of said I'd move it back and forth between Wednesday and Thursday. I couldn't do it tomorrow because I'm going to Texas with my wife. But normally I've been doing it at 7. I tried it at 8, just to kind of toying around with the idea of where the Trilogy Live best fits in on the schedule. So that is why a little bit later, but I noticed, like I said, a few new faces. For those who don't know that are watching, the purpose of Trilogy Live is just to be interactive. I just kind of talk about anything Trilogy or disc golf related that I see or that I want to mention. Sometimes it's just about me. Sometimes it's about things that are going on the board, but really the intent is contribution. It's really to more interact with the Trilogy fans and disc golf fans about anything. And it could be themselves, it could be their tournament, it could be about a disc they like, a disc they don't like. Sometimes it's just about things that I want to talk about. So it varies and things like that. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate the people that watch. It's kind of funny when I look at the numbers for the amount of people that watch on the live. Sometimes it's a little bit smaller than I want. It's gradually growing, but over the course of the week, by the time I come back to the next week to do it, I see all the people who've come and gone and watched it after the fact. So I know people are still watching it, listening to it. I appreciate it. So I see Carl on the board. He's going to Iowa. I assume that means you're going to the Des Moines Challenge. Great tournament. 2 rounds, 4 courses, gorgeous courses. If anybody you've not seen the Des Moines yet, Des Moines Challenge, the Des Moines courses, what are you playing? Grandview, Pickard, Ewing, Walnut? Jim Bevins is on the board asking me if I have thrown the Air Maverick or the Air Captain yet and what my opinion is. So I have thrown the Air Maverick. I have not thrown the Air Captain. Honestly, I never was excited about the Captain. Captain's one, not to be fair to the Captain, I've never really given it a chance. So the Air one just never appealed to me, but I love the Maverick. And the Air Maverick, I liked a lot. I was actually able to torque on it pretty good. The conditions I was throwing in it were a pretty mild wind, so I didn't get to throw it in any kind of headwind or anything like that. But if I put it on a little bit, I'm right-handed, if I put a little bit of left angle on it and I punched it, it stood up, it churned slightly over like a Maverick, but it still came back out. And I was comparing it against the Maverick that I have from the match play from last year, because that's the Maverick I throw. And I was probably getting about 30 feet further consistent distance. The one thing I did throw, the negative of the Air Maverick, is if I threw it right, it threw it great. But the Air Maverick, if I got on it a little bit and just turned my wrist a little bit too much, it definitely was harder to come back than what I noticed from my Fusion Maverick from the match play. So, but I did like it. I've still been toying with it. It hasn't quite made my tournament bag yet because I need to learn it. But I think it's going to be nice in those tunnel conditions, those low wind conditions. I'm be a little nervous to see what it would do in some wind. But Brett Roberts is on the wait list for my Heritage tournament that's coming up in a week or a couple weeks. Should have got in earlier, Brett, so you don't have to worry about wait list. Someone just has to drop out of that day for you to get in, Brett. It doesn't have to be from the rec specifically at all. So if you have more in there, you can email me on that. We'll we'll just have to look at what the weather's going into that, and who shows up or who doesn't. I don't really know how to explain that just yet, but it's just somebody has to drop. We'll see. With all these weather conditions happening, who knows what's going to happen. I like Bob Allen's comment. Do you think, Bob, I think as little as possible. I'm sure that wasn't your entire question, but I'm going to go with what you had as an open-ended question. And if I don't have to think, I prefer not to. So do I think? Yes. Do I want to think? No. That's kind of funny there, Bob. So, all right. So I talked about Oakley. I got a little bit of list on my screen here. For those who don't know, I got like a NASA space station going on here almost with my computer here. I've got a tablet down here to my right. I've got another computer monitor, another monitor. And actually, when I really am doing graphic design, I have another monitor that I send everything over to on my television screen. And then in my bag down here, I have another tablet. That might be one of the reasons at the beginning I was talking about needing a computer. I haven't needed it or wanted to do it because I know that I'm going to have to hook it all up to all of this. And there are a lot of wires between everything I have going on here. So, all right, I saw this week. I was pretty excited doing some congratulatory stuff that Mr. Danny Lindahl reached his 20,000 YouTube subscriber. It's pretty awesome. I'm trying to get to 300. So baby steps, baby steps. I know he's been doing it for a few years, but no, seriously, if you haven't watched Danny stuff, he does a lot of interesting videos. He's got a really funny sense of humor, but a lot of really good stuff with his physics of flight. All right, so something new that's been with me this week. It's I know Brett here was talking about my tournaments, and for those who don't know already, that I run a lot of tournaments, or I have run a lot of tournaments through a lot of the years. Over the last nearly 20 years, I've run tournaments from major championships. I ran the Masters World Championships in 2018 to just small little fun one-round tournaments. And so I've been doing a lot of that. Well, last year, when I ran the Masters World Championships, I handed over several of my tournaments. And when we went to 2019, I had talked to Matt Lloyd, who works with Dynamic Discs in Arkansas, has a store down there, and he was keeping the majority of them. There's a few that we kind of adjusted. Well, he has a busy schedule. He runs a lot of tournaments down in Arkansas. He has a new baby. He's got a retail store down there, and it really just occurred to him that it's just too much. So as of this week, I was fortunate enough to get the majority of my tournaments back, which excuse me, several of the tournaments, and some of them I'm going to hand off to other people that I'm working for or working with. But the big one, if you've never heard it, is I took back the Midwest Amateur Championships. I didn't think I wanted it back for a long time. I wasn't very excited about it. But the moment it was offered to me is just like, yes, yes, I was super excited. And it's funny, so the night before, I had a kind of a conversation, and I kind of felt that maybe I wanted to lead the conversation into me taking it. I actually typed up an email to Matt the night before about the Midwest Amateur Championships and a couple other tournaments, and I couldn't hit send. I was just like, I should really think about this, So I never sent it. And then the next day, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to send that. I just kind of wanted to go through a few things with the family, and want to make sure the weekends that I was going to be now committing to, that they were available. One of the things I've been really trying this year is to not have an increasingly busy schedule. So, but then I got a call from Pete Cashin and kind of telling me the situation. He asked me if I want it back and to give me some time to think about it. And the MAC, I didn't have to think about. The other tournaments, I had to think about a little bit. Some of the other tournaments, I don't have to make a decision about until we work on the schedule come November, December. A few of them I have some ideas. But for now, the Midwest Amateur Championships is back in my hands. I put out a post today promoting it. There was 21 people pre-registered based on how Matt was running it. I had made some changes to it and been reaching out to them, but that registration goes live next week. For those who are out there, if you're an amateur, the Midwest Amateur Championship created in 2013. At one point, I got up to about 330 amateurs, so it was a pretty large event. This year, taking it back, I'm taking a step back by only allowing up to 144. I want to get reacclimated to how I want to run it. Also, since the last time I ran the Midwest Amateur Championships, I have another tournament called Heritage Hills, which kind of took some of the concepts from the MAC. I took the best of both worlds, so I don't want to overlap tournaments. So now I would like the ability to have two unique tournaments. So people who are local or people who travel to the Midwest or to this area can play. They want to play one or the other. They're not playing the same style tournament. So where Heritage Hills is a trophy only players package heavy style tournament, the Midwest Amateur Championship is still going to have a cool players package. It just won't be Heritage Hills style players package, but it's going to be more reward, payout, award, trophy. Not trophy only. It's more payout heavy, I guess is the right. But I don't want to say payout heavy, meaning there's a dollar value. Granted, amateurs only get funny money or script or vouchers. There might be a larger trophy in place. It just doesn't mean they're going to get hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It just means it's more valued at that. So I'm pretty excited for, again, putting all the details together, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. And you guys have ever been out there and you want to ask me anything about it, feel free to ask. I encourage you to come on out. Again, registration opens on Tuesday. It's 3 rounds, 1 round a day out at Waterworks. Each round, we're going to play a different layout. I'm going to actually take a book from the GBO, which is something I actually used to do from the Midwest Amateur Championships. We're going to have a 1-rounder on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just because I know 1 round at Waterworks doesn't take exceptionally long. We're talking 3-hour round. It gives more things that are going on. But we also have a players party, which includes a swap meet, which is something I've never really seen in the disc golf community. It's not about just vendors being there. It's about all your local guys who have some discs. I got something in my eye all of a sudden. But local guys who set up and they sell discs, anybody who had been to any of my Midwest Amateur Championships, I'm going to kind of try to implement a lot of the same things as far as interactive and entertainment, but a few adjustments, a few things that I've learned over the years. So see what the board's going. Carl's telling me to grow an ugly stash. I don't think I need an ugly stash. I think an ugly beard. Yeah, I just cut my beard this week. My wife didn't even notice. But if I didn't notice her cut her hair, I would have been in trouble. Riley, glad to see you're excited. Hopefully I'll see you on the registration list coming up. Scott Quaid is always a supporter. Hope you see you up on the registration list. Chad, what's up? Brett, you'll miss Smithville. You know, it's actually funny. When I saw last year that Matt moved the Midwest Amateur Championships over to Smithville, I was in total agreement with it, because I'd always kind of thought when I had the MAC over 3 courses that Smithville would have been nice, because sometimes I have TDs lined up and sometimes things don't work out, and that makes it hard for a tournament director from that size to rely on people to run things that I can't at locations that I can't be at everywhere at one time. So Smithville made that nice to where ultimately you could run 3 courses from one location. So I really liked that. But then the more I kind of thought about it, I just didn't want to put on, I mean, it's already an A tier, so it requires everybody to be a PDGA member. A lot of them are, but not everybody is. Then you got to require the driving back and forth, or Smithville, which has very little when it comes to hotels, plus the parking fees and things like that. It doesn't make sense for the tournament director to take on the parking fees, which is what Matt Loy did last year, which is why he didn't pay him. But he also paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars more than he would have had to, or the park would have made if it was done individually. So those players have to pay that. So there was just a lot of little things like that. Plus, it's a little harder to control the courses or get things done on the courses that you want to, just because it's a state-run organization with that park, and they've got so many other things going on. Where moving it to Waterworks, we as a club and an organization can make those adjustments on pin locations. Me having it at 1 course but setting up 3 different layouts is like having 3 courses, but I'm at 1 location. So my tournament staff, especially this first year, doesn't quite have to be as large. If I'm a little short-handed, we're all still together. You know, where before with the Midwest Amateur, I'd have to travel from Swope, Rosedale to Shawnee Mission, or various 3 different courses, and I had to have tournament directors at all 3, while I kind of try to do the TD role from the backside as far as trophies, payouts, getting prepared for whatever the nightly activities were, making sure everybody had water, phone calls, things like that. So having it all isolated at Waterworks, I think, is going to be a big thing. And again, that's just for this first year. We'll see what happens after it grows and see what happens after the event. But for now, that's the easy answer for those who want to know a little bit more about some of the changes. But Smithville is actually one of my favorite places. One of the other tournaments that I'm more than likely taking over is Paradise Diamond, and that is actually the event I wanted out of all events. If you said you can only take one, Paradise Diamond is the one I would have took, because that is running out at Smithville. The only problem I have with that one next year that we'll have to figure out is weekend changes. I won't be able to have it in May, more than likely, because I've got high school graduations for like the next 4 years, between whether it's my kid, my wife's kid, nieces, things like that. So I really don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but I have until November to kind of figure out what I'm doing there. The life of a family man tournament director. It's pretty crazy. Carl's referencing Danny's mustache, not my beard. That's good to know there, Carl, because our friendship was on the line there. I was a little bit hurt. I know you can't tell on video, but my tears. And when I was just rubbing my eye there a few minutes ago, that might have been a tear I couldn't hold back. I'm not going to lie. All right. So then, talking about the TD, I talked about this last week. I'm really hoping to get a video, but one of my next series that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video series called TD 101. And it's for those people who want to learn a little bit more about being a tournament director. But it's not even about being a tournament director. It's about being a player and understanding what a tournament director does. Even if you have no interest in being in that role, if you understand what a tournament director is supposed to do, or what happens behind the scenes, one, you're either going to be better educated and have a little bit more sympathy for some of the things that you don't understand why they are the way they are, or it's going to give you that ammo, so to speak, to understand what they should be doing and they're not doing, depending when you go into a tournament. One of the biggest examples, pet peeves that I have about going to any tournaments, is when I show up and the board is there, but the scorecards are not filled out. It drives me crazy because it takes no time at all, especially if you do it the night before, or you put the boards together the night before. Maybe I've been doing it long enough and I have my system that I understand, but it drives me crazy. So by going through those things and me kind of going through that checklist of what I do all the way from the beginning to deciding on a tournament, naming the tournament, how am I going to create it? Talking about the structure between the MAC and Heritage. How do I make it different? How do I make it stand out? Organization, registration, all the way up to the awards time. So I'm going to break it up over the course of probably about 5 or 6 episodes. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm hoping to we're hoping to work on episode 1 tomorrow. But I'm also going on vacation tomorrow night, and I have to work tomorrow at the park. So, and then the next series that I'm actually pretty excited about, I haven't come up with a name yet, so I probably won't start it till maybe next week. And if someone comes up with a good name, shoot me a message. Let me know. There might even be a reward in it or prize in it if someone can come up with a good name. But right now, what I'm wanting to do is I want to do a week-long. It'd probably start with my Instagram. I might post it over on the Facebook, do it. But each week, I'm going to dedicate to a disc. But the idea isn't just any disc. It's in the order of history of the dynamic discs. So the first 4, since they didn't come out any specific, between the Trespass, the Fugitive, the Judge, and the Escape, I'll choose one of them. And I'm going to do a week's worth and show everything I have. So if I did the Escape, could do a Proto Escape. I could do the first run Fluid Escape. I could do the Lucid X Escape. I could do whatever variation escapes over those course couple days. But each day I'm going to talk about the history of it. And again, it's probably ultimately going to come from my Instagram. But then at the end of the week, I want to take those pictures and put them into a YouTube video for some type of reference. So hopefully by the end of that week, I've been able to kind of give a whole rundown of exactly everything I know about the Escape, that I've been able to learn about the Escape, and give a resource. If you know more about the Escape than I do, we can add it to it. But it becomes a resource on YouTube that anybody wants to learn about the Escape, there it is. Or as we get into the 5th week, when we start talking about the Suspect and the Renegade, all the way up to the order, up to the current Raider that we have now. And I don't know, it probably will take me a year to go through that. So I know I'm putting a lot on my plate to hopefully keep up with it. And I'm not saying every day I'm going to have that, but my goal, put that together. And then my goal starting from the beginning is to put all that, organize that each week, that maybe at some point when I've gone through all of it, that I can put together a video that shows the history. I actually think of having this montage poster of a picture of every disc, like you see, like you probably had in like high school, and then somehow all the colorings in the back make a logo. So anyways, I think that would be pretty cool, but I need a name for it. Like I want something catchy. Like I almost thought of like the dog discs of summer or disc days of summer, but I think it's going to last longer than summer. So I don't think that would work. The history of disc, disc golf weekly or the history of DD 1 week at a time, or I don't know, something like that. I'm trying to come up with something good. So anyways, if you come up with it, you can post it in the comments. You can send it to me up on Facebook at Trilogy Talk. You can email me, scottreek@gmail.com, and we can go through that. So, all right, guys, we're at 45 minutes. So I've kind of gone through most of the stuff. Again, I was mostly talking about the ratings today with Oakley, Garrett, and the Pierces, and all the 1100 rated rounds and stuff like that. So, but as always, I want to conclude with my Patreon supporter giveaway. For those who don't already know, patreon.com/Trilogy Talk. Become a Patreon supporter for a little as $1 a month, puts you into 4 drawings over the course of that month. And this week's drawing is for this Lucid Clear Enforcer. And I don't know how well you can see that, but this thing is ice prismy clear. Super nice, blank, factory blank, and it only goes to one of my 8 Patreon supporters. So again, you can always get on that. So, all right, guys. Brett's asking me to make a 73rd spot, and my quick answer to that is not a chance. It is no value to me to bring on one more person to go against the 72 that got in time. Plus, if I make 73rd, then I have to make a 74th, a 75th. I think there's a few people on that waiting list. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I usually like do my best to take care of everybody. But I am not a fan of adding anything different than what I already said I was going to do at registration. What it means is you need to get on it quicker, mister. I know things change. We don't always know. So, all right. So I am going to random.org. I'm going 1 through 8. Again, I want to show this again because that's just how pretty this is. Super ice clear. I'm not even really sure where I got this. It might have been part of my collection. I'm not really sure why I'm giving this away because this is really, really pretty. And it feels good. I hope this isn't Lucid X that I'm giving away. It's kind of stiff. I don't think it is. I don't know why I would have a blank Lucid X since I'm not allowed to have blank Lucid X. All right, let's generate. It gives me number 7. What do we got for my number 7? Go down my list. Mr. Keenan Deely. So Keenan is a big supporter. I'm awesomely glad to see that he wins this. He is I have a lot of supporters. I appreciate all of my supporters, but Keenan's been a big supporter. He does a lot through Derek brokered with Truly Unique, but he's done it a lot on behalf of me. He was a big supporter of Masters Worlds. I'm definitely glad to see that he is gonna get that in the mail. I don't know if he is on here or not. He'll be surprised when I message him and tell him he won, but super excited. Again, patreon.com/Trilogy Talk. But that is all I have for this week. Everybody have a safe Memorial weekend. If someone comes up with a good name for my Disc Weekly thing, feel free to send me a message, as I probably won't start that till next week. But I think that could be a pretty fun and pretty cool thing to start creating a resource for history. So, all right, guys. Until next time, keep sharing the Trilogy love with the world. See ya.